So recently, I've seen a lot of posts on social media on the various networks, Facebook, LinkedIn, whatever whatever social network, and it was basically talking about how, I don't know, like a certain make doing only a certain kind of concept art, whether it's very trendy stuff or whether it's like only keyframes or stuff like that, is actually not helping you, and it could actually prevent you from getting hired. And I found that very interesting, to say that, well, doing a certain kind of thing in concept art is actually bad for you, and you should be, I don't know, be able to draw anything and focus on, well, maybe actual drawing instead of just painting or kit bashing. And I was just wondering, right? There's plenty of people out there whose only job is to do keyframes, right? Um, and seem to have like, for example, yeah, um, and they seem to have a steady stream of jobs. So I was kind of interested to kind of talk about this a little bit, to really think like, okay, is it really about, like, what is it really, what is behind that kind of expression to say like, oh, keyframes are bad. You need to have a well-rounded portfolio. You need to be able to have like pencil drawings and call outs and all this kind of stuff to get hired. So yeah, I was just kind of really intrigued by that. I kind of know what's, I think, behind that. Maybe for students it's really better, or like if you're like somebody who can only kit bash and you can't really design, then yeah, maybe there's something behind that. But I don't know. What do you think about that? Is it more about like what you have in your portfolio? Is it more about what like a certain art director likes? I don't know, or how good you are at a certain thing.
I think ultimately it's still the same as it really is kind of the generalist versus specialist kind of thing, right? I mean, if
Hmm.
you are a great painter and keyframe, you capture stories really well, or if you're a really good environment artist and and you can design spaces like you.
Hmm.
Uh, now, can I design spaces? Sure, but you know, I'm not going to be as good as you because that's your passion.
Hmm.
I mean, that's just the way it is because I've chosen to be better at keyframing and character work now. I mean, and and it's all about what you want to do and what you're good at. And if you don't specialize and you're a generalist, as they call it,
Hmm.
right? You just be a generalist. How many generalists are out there right now? Everyone's a generalist. The problem is they are all generalists, and you're seeing a lot of stuff that's diluted.
Hmm.
Like I can't be a good keyframe guy and a good environment sets guy and a good prop guy, and then like at some point you're gonna suck at something
Hmm.
or
Yeah.
not as
Oh,
good at
definitely.
something,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And in my portfolio, if I'm showing you some stuff like some props, I'm telling you right now, it's not gonna look very good. Like it's gonna look okay,
Right. Right. Right.
but he's good at keyframes, so why don't I just show the keyframes? I don't want to do the props anyways, and that's
Hmm.
not going to get me hired. So in the end, I think when you do see people telling you absolutes,
Hmm.
I would say just be very wary of absolutes,
That's a
anything.
good
So
thing
like
to say.
even
Yeah.
from us, like right, absolutely you should be specialist. You should always question everything that you hear, no matter who's saying it. I have a problem with absolutes
Hmm.
because it's like you have to believe this or that's wrong. No,
Yeah.
I don't.
Exactly.
There is no such thing as wrong. There's only what vibes with you and what doesn't. And I think anybody can make anything work. You're always going to find those exceptions and people who get hired who are, wow, that style got hired. Like, you just never know. I mean, like, even people like Kim Jung-ji, he's just drawing
Hmm.
and he gets hired just to go draw, right? I mean, anybody can get hired to do anything.
Right.
To just do your thing and don't try to do another, discipline just because you feel like you need to be a generalist.
Hmm.
Like, of course, there are certain things. I just spoke to a student regarding this, and yes, certain things in certain positions, like in games, there are some positions that you do need to be like an environment artist in games needs to be more of a generalist, right? They need to know lighting, texturing, modeling. They need to know all these things, right? They need to understand these things. So that's a couple disciplines, but they're not gonna all of a sudden go, well, I'm a generalist, so I animate as well, and then I do, like you have to stop somewhere. But the problem is now you're an environment artist, and a lot of people look at your work. What do? They look at an image, right? And they look at an image and go, "Do I like that image? Does that, is that image making me interested in their skills and their vision? And if it is, then I'm gonna call them. Then I'll look at what they can do. No,
Okay.
like
Mm.
nobody's ever gone, all right, Maya, Blender, and you do the prompts and you do, okay, now I'm gonna look at your work.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah, yeah.
okay, I can hire you. No, they're gonna look at your image and go, wow, that's cool. Oh, uh, wow, okay, so you don't know that software? Whatever, we'll teach it to
Right,
you.
right, right.
Like they will make, oh, you can't animate? Yeah, okay, whatever. Oh, you don't have 3 to 5 years of experience? Well, it looks pretty good to me.
Mm.
That's happened to me,
Yeah.
and I have also hired people that, you always put the how many years experience and what you need to know and all this stuff, generalist. But when I saw this person, I was like, okay, I want to hire this person because I love that work.
Mm.
And it was not generalist,
Right.
but it's I truly believe it's in what you present. Now, because I've been on both sides,
Right. Right.
and I've hired people, and then my boss is like, well, they're not generalists. I'm like, it's fine, like like this one's gonna give a lot of value, and we can have this person help them out, with more generalist tasks. I've changed the role on the spot just because I like their work,
Right. Right.
and they've done that for me as well. So,
Good point. Yeah, yeah.
that's my thought. What's your
No, no,
thought?
yeah, yeah. I agree. I mean, the thing about not dealing in absolutes is absolutely correct. I think you have to be very careful if somebody is trying to sell you um, something as the only way to do a thing or the only way to be successful, because it's just simply not true. It's one way. Yeah, I'm not doubting that. Whatever somebody is trying to sell, right? And like it's fine if they want to sell you a certain worldview, right? Just be always questioning, right? Yes, it could lead to success, but that also means that 100 other ways could also lead to success, right? Whatever that success is means to you. The other thing is like there's a couple of recent stories I came across and interactions is that somebody was applying for a job, and then he found out that about 500 other people also applied for that job, um, and the person who got the job in the end was somebody whose style matched like really 100% what they were looking for that project, and not necessarily like if you're in a sea of 500 other people, like being a generalist or having the same portfolio as other people is not going to cut it, right? You really got to bring something special to the table, um, and you're only going to reach that, like you said, by really being the best, right? Or having something unique you bring to the table. The other thing I recently heard about was talking to a friend about like, yeah, how difficult it is to find a job these days, and um, he also mentioned that like, oh, like I feel like recently, like in recent years, there's less and less people who have like some truly like standout skill within concept art, like something that really makes them like unique, and there's more and more of the same, um, and less of like a true specialist that goes so deep, like really like way beyond what usual people do into one specific thing, right? Whether that is keyframing, whether that is like creature design or whatever else, right? Or even some subset of creature design, I don't know, or vehicles, and then something very particular about vehicles, I don't know, like military, and then I don't know, near future military or near future Earth military, I don't know, like some like super specific kind of thing, and then they really go to town on that and do it better than anybody else out there, and then they model, they don't not only can design but model and like really make it like looking incredible, and then maybe they can also put it into action, right? And those kind of people, I think, will find themselves like, it's very difficult to be replaced by AI because it's so specific, and it's also really difficult to have somebody else like have that amount of dedication to go into one particular subject matter. That really, I think, can help you like create a niche for yourself, right? And therefore, I think that's a strong point towards like, yeah, somebody who really wants to be a specialist, right? But I mean, on the same side, like if you want to be a generalist, like sure, like if that excites you, right? I think there are people out there who like to dabble a bit in everything, right? That's also cool. Just you kind of need to know what you're up against, right? I mean, in the end, just don't do it because you like don't become either way just because you saw a Facebook post like telling you, oh, you shouldn't do this, you should do that kind of thing, right? That's I think by the worst kind of the worst kind of road you can follow, right? I mean, I know we're all tempted by that once in a while, especially at a weak moment, when we're scrolling and lying in bed and are tired anyway, and then we notice these kind of things, and then we see like, oh my gosh, it got a lot of likes, like, I probably should be doing that. But that's probably the worst thing to do, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think it's the worst thing you can do is just to follow somebody's thing because they told you.
Mm.
And I think that, there's all this stuff about, getting a job, obviously, ultimately, people, you're talking about people getting a job, right? I mean, but I also think, make sure that you also do your research on your field, right? Are you in games? In games, you probably have to be a little bit more of a generalist in
Mm.
some things, right? In some disciplines. But when I look at some of these concept people that we're talking about that are good, you included, I mean, in your environment creation, you do have to be a generalist in the sense that you have to model your
Mm.
sets,
Mm. Mm.
you have to texture your sets, you have
Yeah.
to light your sets, you have to design your sets, right? You have to have that is a little bit of a generalist mentality, right?
Mm.
Versus just a character guy probably is more just interested in just making that creature
Mm.
the creature guys, or creature girl, for that matter. So, I think research your position and your thing. What do you want to be in? Because that within what scope do you, fall? And then kind of go, okay, well, you can try to be, you can try to widen that, right, as much as you can, so that within that thing, you're, the top notch, and always just go to look at the top guy or girl uh, in that area, right? Whoever is great, uh, follow what they're doing. Take a look at what they're up to. Not in their style or anything, but
Mm.
just
Mm. Mm.
look at
Yeah.
how they're tackling, what they're showing. And then you've already got a little bit of a roadmap, like, hey, if you want that, I always say, when you're looking for a job, just looking for the person who's doing the job you want.
Mm. Yeah. That's good. That's
And
always
then
a good recommendation. Yeah.
yeah, and then just go look at that and go, okay, well, like, you know, yeah, I want to do environments and I want to do environments like Jan. Well, then look at what he does. I mean, he has to do all these things in order to get that.
Mm.
So take a look at that and evaluate for yourself. But just whatever you do, evaluate.
Right.
Evaluate all the points of views and evaluate your own point of view. And it'll always be right because it's your thinking, not somebody else.
Right. Right. Right.
Because we did notice that somebody was right. There are these posts of a lot of like, hey, you gotta do it like this, and there's no gotta, there's only what you want to do, but just take it as information.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, or like question. I think questioning is always having a little bit of a um, how to say, like a questioning mindset. Like just be wary of people trying to sell you an ultimate truth, or like the surefire way of getting hired, right? I mean, they probably have good intentions,
Mm.
and I have no doubt they have, right? But I'm usually trying to see like, are they trying to sell anything to me, right? Um, do they have anything for sale? And then if they do, then there's probably like some other agenda going on. Whereas if they have nothing to gain from giving you this information, then it's probably something that you can take a closer look at, right? But like you said, like follow your own thing, and yeah, I mean the best, like yeah, if you're looking to improve your art, right? I think it's the best way to, again, yeah, look at the work that somebody that holds a job you want has, um, and see how you can get there, or talk to them, right? I think that's the best way to go about it, when it comes to like, yeah, concept art or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, and it's one of these things where it's like job is one thing, but also remember
Mm,
you're doing this for your own artistic pursuit
right.
as well. So, jobs are one thing, but just remember to you're doing this because you wanted to make good art, you
Mm,
wanted to have fun doing art, explore that, and ultimately the jobs will come. Um, just because I think people are just looking at the word job and everybody is just stopped thinking,
mm,
yeah, I'm gonna go wherever I can to get the job. And I'm like, slow down, it will happen, but make sure that you're really, finding out about the quote unquote job that you want, and then you can move towards that. But right now, just remember to have some fun,
right.
and just go and do that stuff, and don't let too many opinions sway you, I mean, the fact that if they're selling you something, that doesn't automatically mean obviously that it's bad. I
Mm,
mean,
yeah,
it's
of course, of
okay.
course. Yeah.
It just means that be always be careful, especially if you're going to spend money buying a course, like you
Mm,
don't want to just spend money. You want to make sure you spend money on the right things,
right.
and and just do your research,
Perfect. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
that's the best thing you can say, especially on the internet, right? You never know what you get these days, honestly. So yeah, do your research, and use some common sense, and then you should be good. Awesome. I think that was good. Great. Thank you guys for tuning in again, and we see you next week. Thank you again for listening and watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like, comment, and subscribe.